Grace and peace, everybody. Grace and peace. You saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. So let's get at it. Happy Saturday to you all. Happy Lord's Day Eve, as we like to say around these parts. Hope you all are doing outstanding. Thank you so much for everybody who already jumped in the chat. Looks like a lot of comments are already flowing in here, which is always encouraging to see. Let's see real quick what we got. So my question is, have you liked the video? And 76% of y'all did, and I do deeply appreciate it. I want to make sure I say that loud and clear. I really appreciate it. So I do want to thank you for tuning in today. I'm letting you know ahead of time, tomorrow is my usual, the wrap-up show. Tomorrow's going to be my birthday party. So we're going to just have a good old time. We're going to sit around and just talk, tell jokes. I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about that's going on in the channel, and I just want to celebrate you all. So, and what I mean by that is I just want to highlight the fact that you all have made this channel grow and prosper by God's grace. So I'm looking forward to celebrating my 50th rotation around the sun with you all. So stop by tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. All right. So real quick, y'all, this Fani Willis stuff, man, it's just been popping. It has just been crazy. I don't think anybody anticipated these Fani Willis stories and what's going on with Fani Willis to continue to just keep taking flight. Like I said, man, it's a story that has taken over and become its own story. It's no longer even about the Trump case anymore. It's really about just the shenanigans and the corruption and what is going on in this trial. And it's bananas. So I just want to highlight it today. We're going to talk about it real quick. Why did I know you were live? What do you mean? Hopefully that's a good thing. Hopefully that's a good thing. I need to fix this. I need to fix this right here. All right. I'm working so hard on my use of Ecamm. I am trying my best. I'm really trying my best. And I think I'm getting better, but there's a lot of room for improvement, to say the least. So y'all stretch your hand towards your boy. Pray that your boy get it figured out. I think it's getting better. Let's see. All right. I think this is looking a little better. I think that looks good. All right. We're going to leave it like that for the time being. Oh, no, I can make it a little bit bigger for people like myself who got bad eyes. All right. Yikes. What in the world is that? That's not going to work. You put that back in English, my guy. All right. All right. Let's see real quick. I'm sorry about that. Let's see. That's okay. We'll leave it like that today. All right. We'll leave it like that. I appreciate y'all. Y'all the best. So tomorrow I'm going to do my birthday party. I've never done a birthday party live, but because Lady Dear World Christian is taking Dear World Christian away on his actual birthday, which is next Wednesday. So don't worry, there will be content coming up. Content will be dropping and all that kind of good stuff. But today I just want to clear up all the traps as it relates to Fani and all the, man, it's just so much wild stuff going on. I'm just like, this story has taken on a life of its actual own. Like the story, again, is no longer even about the Trump case. It's no longer even about any of that. It's about just all of the shenanigans and hijinks. And dare I say this, like the outright corruption that is in Atlanta government. Like, wow, we didn't realize just how bad Atlanta was. Now we thought, oh yeah, New York or Chicago or somewhere else. But right here in Atlanta, I don't think we knew it was just this bad. And all of the chicanery, all of the tomfoolery. And then when the smoke clears, a lot of this is not going to amount to nearly what they thought it was. Not even a monicum of what they anticipated and what they thought. Look at Letitia James up in New York. It's not going to even amount to what they thought. And it's just wild to watch. So we're going to clear the traps today. But before we get into the traps, I'm looking at the chat, and there's a lot of good folk in stop by today. Q is in the building. Always good to see you. Always good. Q is driving, but she is here, she said. Well, I appreciate you. Grace and peace. Thank you so much. It might be a little bit of hyperbole, peace, baby, but because we're gonna look at what is actually being said in a moment, and it might be a little bit of hyperbole. It might be a smidgen of it, but hey, help your guy out. Help your guy out. Let me get this. I don't like the way that looked now. All right, that's a little better. As a classroom teacher, I kind of like that. All right, there we go. All right, let us see what we got. All right, Shara's in the house. Good to see you, sister. Always good to see you. I see you over there. Kim is in the house. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you stopping by on today. Always good to see Tawanda. Always good to see you. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, at the end, I will let you know, there's going to be a lot of new things going on this channel. Change of venue, of course. I'll talk about it at the end if you remind me. We're going to be talking about some new content creator meetups, as well as the infamous critical race theory bingo is coming at the end of the month. So stay tuned. But all right, that looks good. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Before we start talking about Fani, though, you know we got to do it. We got to.
Yeah. As the pictures, all the drama unfolds. Secrets and scandals, stories untold. Hold on to your seats, it's gonna be a wild ride. As the picture.
Grace and peace, grace and peace. Oh, Tawanda, you just talked about that. Oh, I want to talk about that so bad. So I saw this in Dalton, and see, I really wanted to believe that Dalton wanted the best for Dalton. But if they looked up there and saw that we need to bring in Lori Lightfoot to do anything for Dalton, then Dalton is sunk. If the trustees that have garnered so much support from the world, okay, those trustees, House and the such like them, a lot of people really supported them. A lot of people really believed in them. A lot of people wanted the best for them. If they actually have hired Lori Lightfoot, the disgraced mayor of Chicago, to do anything in Dalton, short of like dog catcher. I mean, there's nothing that Lori Lightfoot needs to have been hired for. If they hired her, I think we're going to have to call it a wrap. I don't know if I can feel positive about Dalton's direction if, in fact, they hired Lori Lightfoot. And again, Lori Lightfoot is the former mayor. She had so many problems in Chicago. And again, Chicago is a deeply Democratic city. And for her to have come in there and turn so many people off, that was crazy. So much that they even hired the guy that's there now, which I think is probably right in the same vein as Lori, but they just wanted something else. They're like, look, we just need somebody else. And they just like, look, hopefully this guy's going to be better. And I think they was hoping and wishing, and the copium didn't kick in. But real quick, I see my sister April in the building. April, good to see you. Grace and peace. Now, April did an interview with the gentleman that we're going to be talking about, Harrison Floyd, in a moment. She did an interview with him yesterday, and it was really good. So I do encourage you, if you have not seen that, go check out what April's doing over there. After this video, though, of course, don't do it now. Don't hurt your boy. I need y'all to hang out with me. But after this video, go by and check out what she did. She had a great conversation with him, and I think his story is really compelling. So hopefully you'll have a chance to check it out. And by the way, check out what April does. April does fantastic commentary as well from a Christian female perspective. So, and she does outstanding interviews. And I'm not going to ruin it, but she had an interview with a highly respected GOP member. Was it, Wednesday? Again, man, April's bringing in the interviews left and right and center. And she had a fantastic interview with a highly rated GOP member. I'm not going to give a lot of it away because I want you to go check out what she did. But yeah, it was an excellent interview. And again, she does a fantastic job. I believe you'll really enjoy what she's doing. It's high value content over there. So check out what she's doing over there. Great to see you, April. Thanks for stopping by. Let us get at this thing because we got a lot to do today. Let's go. Hopefully you did this right. We did it right, y'all. Man, God is good. All right. So this is from Newsweek. And a lot of people are having a question about this Harrison Floyd young man. And I think we should, I think there's some good value, especially when you think about what he's actually being brought up on. April said it was probably Tuesday. The days are starting to run together. So please forgive me. Charge it to me, not to April. And I think Shara right there has dropped the link to her channel in the chat already. So there we go. All right. So One of Donald Trump's co-defendants in the Georgia election interference case has threatened to launch legal action against Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis if she does not recuse herself from the case by noon on Monday. All right. Monday's got a lot going on. We got the eclipse going on. We got 9 days before dear Will Christian's birthday. And now we got Fani is being told that she needs to recuse herself. I think Fani should recuse herself because the case is starting to look more and more. I'm starting to understand why they were moving so fast. That's what I'm understanding. I fully understand why they wanted this case to go so fast. And they keep saying, so-and-so is stalling and this team is stalling. I totally understand that now because this case is, I don't think it has even a monicum of the veracity that now that people have time to unpack it. Because please keep in mind, when you do discovery and your opponent drops 2 million pages of work on you, how are you going to read that? How are you honestly going to dissect all of this material? How are you honestly supposed to do that? And be real. How many people could you hire to read that? How many people could you hire to read it and understand it and correlate together? Like, for real? Come on. And when you're talking about it's bananas. So a lot of the time, a lot of this is not, sure, a good attorney has a system and they still get through all of that, the large boxes full of paperwork and evidence, so on and so forth. But a lot of the time, they don't fully know everything. And now it's starting to break down and the general population is starting to understand what is in those boxes, what was in the discovery. What did you actually know? Who told you to do this? And it's really starting to smell. The odor of mendacity is getting insane, okay? So I fully understand now why they were trying to move so fast. But let us go. The context. Trump, the presumptive Republican presidential nominee, has pled not guilty to a number of charges in Georgia over allegations he broke the law attempting to overturn the 2020 presidential election results in the state. This is one of the 4 criminal cases Trump is facing as he makes his bid for the second White House term. Trump has consistently denied all allegations against him, which he claims are politically motivated. I don't know what it's not. I don't know. Is it anything else than politically motivated? And we're going to say, you can be like, Jason, come on, man. This is all right and fair and square. Really? Do you really believe that this is fair and square? I'm just asking because I'm going to ask you, then why is it only, just seems to be interesting that Black Democrats are the only ones bringing charges against Trump? Why is that? Why are the faces of the New York case and as well here in Georgia and others only Black Democrats? Why are there no Black Republicans, white Republicans, anybody else? Why has nobody else picked up on this except Black Democrats? It just seems interesting because as soon as there's pushback, as soon as there's any kind of whoa, pump the brakes, immediately those same people yell and scream what? Racism. It just seems like it just seems to me like they might have set this up to be a wonderfully orchestrated distraction. In the post on X, formerly Twitter, why do y'all say that? Just say X now, okay? That's fine. If you want to call it X, then call it X. If you still want to call it Twitter, most people know what you're talking about, okay? Let us go. Harrison Floyd wrote, I don't want to put a Black woman in jail, but if Fani Willis does not recuse herself from this case by noon on Monday, I may have no other choice than to pursue all lawful remedies, make Fulton great again. Wow. And I left the link to this article in the description so you can go check it out as well. Okay. Shots fired. Let me add the shots fired. Shots fired. He knows what he's talking. He means it. Okay. Then you're going to have to show and prove, my friend. So let's see what else we got. Floyd posted part of an article purportedly from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution suggests that Willis' office shared a recording of a conversation Willis had with his attorney, Carlos J.R. Salvado, in an unrelated criminal case in Maryland. Yikes. All right. Woo, that phone wiretap thing, boy, that phone wiretap thing getting people in trouble. Let's go. Floyd suggested that Willis's office may have violated the Maryland Wiretap Act, under which it is unlawful to record any private in-person conversation or telephone communication unless you are a party to the conversation and have, here's the part, the permission of all of the parties. I don't understand this law because to me, I know there's lots of states that have single consent law, so I can record you and you don't have to give consent. But if I record you and you're in Maryland, what does that do? I don't know how that works. So I do think this is going to be really dicey. And I've heard about the recording and all that kind of good jazz. So yikes. All right. While the majority of the states have one-party consents, and most of y'all are familiar with those, consent laws that allow a conversation to be recorded so long as one person agrees, there are 11 states, including Maryland, that require two-party consent. Under Maryland's Wiretap Act, recording a private conversation without consent from both parties is punishable by up to 5 years in prison, a fine up to $10,000 or both. Okay, so if I'm in a single consent and I wiretap somebody in a dual consent, does the dual consent supersede my right to wiretap in my single state? That I'm just not clear on. And again, I'll let y'all know that I am a pre-K law student. I don't know a thing. Okay, I know none of this. So I'm actually learning it along with you. Newsweek contacted the Fulton County District Attorney's Office to comment outside of the normal working hours. Why did they put that? Why did they put that? That's such a wasted sentence. So you did something outside of hours. Were you expecting them to answer you at 7 o'clock on Thursday? Did you really think they were going to answer you? Come on, man. Why do y'all do that? Then reach out to them at another time or just say we were unable to contact them. It just seems like such a silly thing to write. All right. I don't want to butcher Christopher's name, so I'm just going to call him Christopher. One of Floyd's attorneys made the same accusation against Willis on Tuesday during an interview on with Phil Holloway. Shout out to Phil Holloway. He's a defense attorney here in the Cobb County area, and actually his office is down the street from mine. Shout out to Phil. Great guy. Really smart, too. All right, let's keep this rolling. Referring to Willis, he said, she did reach out to us. One of my colleagues in Maryland and was rude, abrupt with him on the phone. And he was dealing with the Maryland case and I was dealing with the Georgia case. And she ended up recording him. Okay. It sounds like it might not be good. Holloway asked Christopher, I don't want to butcher his name, whether he was suggesting Willis had illegally recorded the call. And he replied, oh, yeah, it's a felony in Maryland. Wow. Okay. So if I'm in a single state, a single consent state, and I call somebody in a dual consent, I am breaking the law by recording them, and therefore I've committed a felony. Okay. Okay. Maryland is a one-party state. Maryland's a one-party state? It just said in here there was two. Are you saying, what do you mean? Yeah, that's, okay. I mean, it doesn't sound good. But see, this is the only reason I want to bring this up. This is on a long list of examples of Fani Willis just being reckless. Just being reckless. And I think that's the area I think we should all land. Right, there we go. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, Maryland requires both parties to consent. Absolutely. I think that's where we need to just watch. It's so reckless. Now, granted, again, her case against Trump can be as noble as today is Saturday. I'm not arguing that at all. All I'm saying is that she is reckless. She is incompetent. And we've seen so many examples here today. Do you honestly feel comfortable that she would be able to take the Trump case, if the Trump case started today, would she be able to carry it all the way to the end to a proper conviction where everybody's like, yo, that was yeah. Yeah, that was a proper decision. Do you feel comfortable in that? When you look at her record keeping, when you look at her bookkeeping, when you look at the way that she handles cases, do you feel like, man, yeah, this is gonna be fine? Or do you feel like, yeah, there's gonna probably be some shenanigans and some hijinks going on? That's all I'm talking about. It's a felony. She is a DEI, didn't earn it, thug with a law license. Will anyone in Georgia stand up to her? Hopefully there'll be more. Floyd, again, we're talking about Harrison Floyd, the former leader of the Black Voices for Trump, is the only one in Trump's co-defendants to have been jailed in the Georgia case between August 24th and 30th, when a $100,000 bond was covered. Okay, here's a question. Since Floyd was like, there's only 2 black people of the 19 that were indicted by Fani Willis. Only 2 of them are black. There's a black female and a black male. The black male was thrown in jail. Okay. We're here in Georgia. Okay. We're in the South. Any other time, there would be the cry of what? The R word, right? Racism, correct? If Fani Willis was Fred Johnson, a white man, they would have been yelling racism. Why don't they yell racism now when Fani Willis threw Harrison Ford, the only black man with the least amount of charges, in jail? Why? Where's the racism charge? That's what I'm saying. There's no way that this case is going to actually get any kind. I'm promising you, day upon day upon day, I say, Fani Willis's case is never going to see the light of day. I got tons of people that argue with me, tons of people that disagree with me and think that I'm wrong. That's fine. You're wrong. And I promise you, this case will not see the light of day. I'm telling you that already. I've already told y'all, if Fani Willis gets primaried next month, I am going to Fulton County and I'm going to do a show live from Fulton County, somewhere where Fulton County big. Maybe I'll go to, the Fulton County Library or something where Fulton County's name is, okay? I did test the waters yesterday. President Firstborn was driving, and we were driving, and she went down the street, and I said, oh my gosh, we're going into Fulton County. She's like, Dad, calm down. Nobody's going to arrest you. So I had to do a short from Fulton County so y'all know where I am, just in case I got caught up on them RICO. So, again, there's no way this case is ever going to see the light of day. So when they throw the case out, I'm going to Fulton County. I'm going to do a show from Fulton County. When she gets primaried, I'm going to do a show from Fulton County. I don't know what it'll be, but I'm going to go because this case is never going to see the light of day. I'll continue. And most of y'all know this. Most of y'all have heard it from very smart people, smarter than me, smarter than the pre-K law student. And they said, yeah, this case ain't gonna ever see the light of day. And we actually have a couple other examples in here as well. Let us go. In November 2023, Judge Scott McAfee rejected prosecutors' bid to get his bail revoked following what they claimed was a pattern of intimidation. In March, McAfee accused Willis of having a tremendous lapse in judgment. What pray tell was the tremendous lack of judgment? I don't know. What do you think it was? Not paying her library fees when she was in 3rd grade? What could it have been? Why don't y'all tell me in the chat, what was the tremendous lapse of judgment? What was it? You know what it was? She was buying the wrong kind of number 2 pencils. That's what it was. The tremendous lapse in judgment. What was Fani Willis's tremendous lapse of judgment? What was it? Oh man, my girl was looking out for me. Thank you, Jeff. My daughter was looking out for me. She's trying to keep me safe. She was trying to keep me safe. But what pray tell were the tremendous lapse in judgment that Fani Willis employed? What pray tell would it have been? It couldn't have been by any means like hiring your unqualified boyfriend to be the lead prosecutor on the most important case, dare I say, definitely that most of us have heard of. That couldn't have been the tremendous lapse in judgment. Could it? Could that have been it? Maybe, possibly. Come on, man. This is bananas. Let us continue. All right. Over her relationship with Nathan Wade. Why is that under any other circumstances that would have gotten somebody, if that was a CEO having an extramarital affair with his secretary or the mailroom clerk or anybody else, that man would have been jettisoned out faster than. But why is this a tremendous lapse in judgment? I don't get it. I do not get it. Then the special prosecutor on the Trump's case. However, Willis was allowed to remain on the case as long as Wade stepped back, which he did shortly afterwards. I actually don't think McAfee did her a solid. But, that was the end of it. What do you know about that? Okay. I don't think McAfee did her a solid in retrospect. I don't think so. I don't think that was a good idea. I don't think it was the best thing that he allowed her to stay because she's only going to contaminate the case. Again, the case was never going to see anything. The case never really had legs. And now she's still on it, trying to hobble horse it on up to the starting line. Because mind you, they actually haven't started the case yet. Good to see you there. I see you over there, Jarena. Good to see you. Jarena The Way, follower of The Way podcast, another great content creator. And I also saw my brother from another. There he is, standing for Christ. Good to see you, Zach. I didn't make this thing a little bit clearer. Sorry about that. All right. Hey, brother, I'm relying on you to tell me what the heck is going on in this case. Well, brother, I'm doing my very best, but I'm going to let you know right now, I'm a pre-K law student. I have no idea what I'm talking about. None whatsoever. Let me fix this real quick. I think I got it. I don't. All right. Trying to make this a little bit more clear so it stands out a little bit better. I might have it right. We'll get back to it. Let us go. I see a lot of good people showed up. MMCS says she hired Wade. She lied about it. She threatened his wife. The bad thing is that I'm pretty sure if we started creating a list, I think we could easily come up with 10 things that she did wrong. I don't think that would be a reach. There's so many things that are wrong in this case. I do think that these are some great examples right here, but I don't even think this is even the finishing part of the things that she's done that were inappropriate and that shouldn't have happened. But no, I appreciate it though. And I do want to take a second real quick as we're moving into the next segment. I do want to thank the mods. Thank you very much. The show would not go on. This would not happen if the mods were not doing everything, whether that be dropping links or sharing posts or pulling up articles and putting them in the chat, all that kind of stuff like that. You all are invaluable. And I do want to make sure I say that. Can y'all do me just a solid, just a real quick. Can y'all fill the chat up with the word mods, please? MODS. Can y'all do that and just let the mods know that we greatly appreciate them? And there's tons of them. I got a lot of wrenches running around here, but I really do want to say again, if I could spell, that I really do appreciate the mods. So if we could just real quick, just let them know that we appreciate them. Because again, they keep this ship going because I could be the captain, but there's not somebody running the rudder and doing all the other aspects of it. Then we are in a whole world of hurt. So I just want to say thank you so much. Just let them know we appreciate them. Thank you all. Look, there goes the mods are showing up. Mod commentary to the mods. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it, y'all. Now, I do want to say this as well, because I don't think this goes on. I don't want this to slide by either. You all rock. This live chat, I've put in a request. I put in my petition for this live chat to get a Nobel Peace Prize because this is the best live chat on the planet. So I put in a request. I don't know if they'll ever get back to me, but I just want y'all to know I have put in the request for this live chat to get a Nobel Peace Prize because you all are amazing from the conversations back and forth. And I just love the fact when somebody comes in and says hi, I can look up and I can see 5, 6, 7 people shouting that person out saying what's up to that person and so on and so forth. It means a lot. So I'm just saying not only are the mods amazing, but you all in the live chat are amazing as well. So I just want to give you your flowers, give you your shine, let you all know that I really do appreciate and I acknowledge you. And now I have something special. So Mr. Winks HVAC dropped me a super chat. Thank you so much. And guess what? Rico. You get the new sound effect. I got the Rico sound effect because Rico. All that goes to support my Fani Willis RICO Defense Fund, because you know good and well Fani gonna bring your boy up on some RICO charges. So I got to be able to defend myself. RICO. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. I really do. Everybody, thank you so much again for every last one of y'all that make this show just amazing. So I'm gonna say it a lot because I really do mean it. I don't want it to go over and just kind of pass by like, Jason doesn't care. No, I really do appreciate y'all. Because again, otherwise, this would, my kids, they'll be talking about me. They're in the kitchen talking about me right now. So I'll be here yelling in my office, talking loud, because that's what my kids say I do. All right, let us go. Now, we got a good friend of the channel, Viva Fry. He gave a really nice summary of the First Amendment decision, because I know you heard that Trump's lawyers were protesting and actually pushing for the idea that what Trump said was protected speech under the First Amendment is political speech. And the hearing and the conversation, it was a little bit over my head. It took a long time for me to really process what they were talking about. But in perfect Viva form, Viva explained it out really well. So let's bring him in and let's talk about it. Let's go.
Alrighty, party people of the interwebs, it is your daily dose of the Fani. We have a
Before we go too far, I want to make sure everybody can hear Viva correctly. Is that okay? Can we all hear him pretty well? Let me bring myself in. All right. For some reason or another, it's muting my microphone. Make sure it didn't mute me. Okay. Okay, everybody can hear me. Okay, cool. All right. So real quick, we're going to bring Viva in and just check out what he had to say. He had a great commentary about the First Amendment decision that Judge McAfee had. So let us go. Let's go.
Meaningful update in the Fani Willis RICO extravaganza of a debacle of an injustice. You will recall last week, Sato, attorney for Donald Trump, had presented a motion to dismiss the indictment on the basis that it was violative of First Amendment rights. That is to say that the entire indictment basically criminalizes free speech, that it is based on facts and allegations that are only related to free speech, and that the RICO indictment basically seeks to criminalize what is First Amendment protected political speech, the most important type of free speech that there is out there. Maddow presented a motion to dismiss that basically covered two facets, two aspects of an argument. One is that the law was facially invalid, that is to say, invalid on its face. That was the weaker of the two arguments. The other argument was that it was unconstitutional, First Amendment violation as applied to the circumstances. We watched that hearing live together, and I was watching it, and I was commentating as we were watching. The more that they argue that this needs to be dismissed and the more complicated their arguments are, the less likely it is that Judge Scott McAfee is actually going to dismiss this case, because the more you argue nuance in terms of the as-applied First Amendment violation protected speech, the more you have to argue nuance, the more the judge is simply going to say this is going to be in your defense at trial, and it's not at the stage of a motion to dismiss that I'm going to determine in this nuanced argument that as it's being applied to the speech in question, it is violative of the First Amendment and therefore should be dismissed. Now, there was the other aspect of the facial unconstitutionality, the facial First Amendment violation of the statutes at issue. And I thought that was a failing argument right off the bat, because they had basically conceded that this had already been interpreted under Georgia law, and they determined that it was not facially invalid. Therefore, the only saving element could be as applied unconstitutional, and the judge rendered his decision. Today, I had made my firm prediction that Scott McAfee, not through corruption or anything, just based on what we saw, it was exceedingly implausible that he was going to grant this motion, and I predicted he was not going to grant this motion, and lo and behold, today, he rendered his judgment, a 14-page judgment that you could have drafted from the commentary last week. He dismissed their motion to dismiss the indictment, basically coming to the conclusion that the law is not facially invalid, and as applied, we cannot come to that determination right now because the state has alleged that the speech in question is potentially criminal in nature, because in the indictment, it's alleged that the speech, which is speech at the end of the day, was nonetheless speech in furtherance of a crime, which is itself not protected by the First Amendment. So I'll just read a few of the highlights from the decision, and I'll try to find my clip where I predicted that this was going to happen. happen. And I'm batting 1 for 2, which is not bad, but I'm still hopeful that I'm going to ultimately be 2 for 2 because I predicted Fani Willis was going to get disqualified from this case. Judge Scott McAfee did not have the judicial cojones to do that, but he laid out a fact pattern for the Georgia Court of Appeal to do what he ought, and that is qualifies the Fani. I am going to say that I predicted it right, but for the time being, 1 for 2, and the judge, Scott McAfee, did not grant the motion as drafted. So,
okay, before he goes too far, just real quick summary. Pre-K law student, basically, the state argued that Trump broke the law because he was already committing a crime, so his freedom of speech was all in continuance of a crime. I disagree with that, but let us continue. So Sadao and the team were arguing that the law is unclear and that what he said was protected speech and he can say those kind of things. And I do understand, especially when you think about the fact that there is a law in the books if the president doesn't think that the election was done fair and clear, that he can ask for the vice president to panel a council to investigate whether or not the election was fair and clear. Well, in order for that to happen, there would need to be some kind of speech that says, I don't believe that the election was fair. I don't believe that they counted these votes right, whatever like that. I believe there's some shenanigans going on in Georgia. There's some hijinks happening over here. There would have to be some kind of speech like that. And I think, in my opinion, I believe that it would have fallen under there. But, Scott is he's going to do what he's going to do. I think somebody asked me, how do we feel about Scott McAfee? I'm okay with him. But I do believe that I'm okay with him, but I do believe that he's this kicking the can down the street scenario is getting a little bit old. That's my little 2 cents. Let's go. Viva, let's go.
in the beginning, the judge basically summarizes what's going on. Order on defendant's motion to dismiss under the First Amendment. The defendants seek to dismiss the indictment on as-applied and facial First Amendment grounds. U.S. Constitution, and then yada, yada, yada. They argue this prosecution violates the First Amendment's protections of political speech and activity, freedom of association, and the right to petition Congress as applied to their alleged conduct, and further contend that the indicted charges are overbroad. After considering the extensive briefing, the argument of counsel, and the indictment, the court finds these vital constitutional protections do not reach the actions and statements alleged by the state, nor do the statutes themselves facially violate the First Amendment. The defendant's motions are therefore denied. So bottom line, the statutes are not facially invalid. They're not invalid on their face, to be a little redundant, and the allegations in the indictment are sufficient to at least cast some doubt on whether or not the speech at issue is purely political First Amendment protected speech or speech in furtherance of felonious crimes as alleged, which is not protected First Amendment speech, because the judge makes clear that First Amendment protected speech does have certain limits, and we all know these limits: defamation, threats, etc., etc. And if the speech at issue was said in the purpose of furthering a crime, then it would not be protected First Amendment speech, and we can't come to that determination right now. So off to trial you all go. Then we go into the First Amendment considerations on page 2. These excluded categories include speech integral to criminal conduct, fraud, or speech presenting an imminent threat that the government can prevent. Restrictions on, quote, speech integral to criminal conduct have never been thought to raise any constitutional problem, end quote. So after having laid out that exception to First Amendment protections, the judge goes on to consider the as-applied and comes to the following conclusions. As-applied challenges. As-applied constitutional challenges typically rely on the development of a factual record after trial. Yet our Supreme Court's decision in Hall, Boyer, and Major demonstrate that as-applied challenges may be considered pre-trial using the limited record at hand. What does this mean here? That typically you raise the as-applied unconstitutionality after evidence has been adduced that the manner in which the law is being applied at the case at issue is unconstitutional. It's after evidence has been presented. Right now we're at sort of pre-evidentiary, a pre-trial motion to dismiss it, and the judge says, look, typically it's after evidence has been adduced where you go for a directed verdict, and I made that commentary during the hearing where the judge said, isn't this something more for a directed verdict? And I said, look, he's giving his hand away right now. That's what he's going to do. So there are cases where you can make this pre-trial motion to dismiss, and lo and behold, it's not going to be one of those exceptions to be granted at this point. After interpreting the indictment's language liberally in favor of the state as required at this pretrial stage, the court finds that the defendant's expressions and speech are alleged to have been made in furtherance of criminal activity and constitute false statements knowingly and willfully made in matters within a government agency's jurisdiction which threaten to deceive and harm the government. The judge goes on to clarify a little bit later that it's not merely by virtue of the fact that a statement is false that it becomes actionable, but in this case, they've alleged that the statement was false and made in furtherance of a felony crime. Look, all you have to do is make specific allegations and you'll never get it dismissed at a pretrial stage until evidence is adduced, and the judge says this a little later on. Nor is a false statement knowingly and willfully made in a matter within a government agency's jurisdiction and which threatens to deceive and harm the government free from restrictions. Now, important to appreciate, the judge is not saying anything is true at this point in time. All of the judge is saying is that the state has alleged these allegations. The state has made the claim, made the allegations that the defendants made knowingly and willfully false statements in furtherance of the crime of trying to overturn the 2020 election. So by virtue of the fact that they've made sufficient allegations to survive this motion at this stage, it's going to survive this motion to dismiss at this stage. In addition, this court sees no reason to depart from the Georgia Supreme Court's ruling in Haley, which denied a similar challenge to OCGA Section 161020. The statute does not blanketly apply to all instances of false, fictitious, or fraudulent speech, but rather is limited only to such, quote, knowingly and willfully false statements that are made knowingly and willfully in a matter within a government agency's jurisdiction, end quote. Accordingly, quote, the state may lawfully punish such a course of potentially deceptive and injurious conduct. Precedent is to the effect that this statute was not overly broad and facially unconstitutional, facially invalid, so they're going to respect that precedent. On the allegations of the indictment, the state has made sufficient allegations that the false, knowingly, willfully false statements were made for the purposes of furthering a crime, therefore not protected under First Amendment protections. So we're going to go to trial, and they're going to raise all of this more substantively after evidence is adduced or after no evidence is adduced. That is to say, no evidence of willfully false, knowingly false statements made to overturn an election. Because it might just come out after a hearing that all of the statements at issue were in fact correct. Who knows? We'll see what comes out after evidence. But as relates to the motions at hand, the judge concludes with the following and thus ends his judgment. Page 13, further, the statutes do not facially violate the defendant's freedom of association. Our Supreme Court has upheld legislation impacting the right of association after, quote, balancing governmental interests in protecting the integrity of the democratic process and to ensure fair elections against an individual's fundamental rights. Conclusion, without foreclosing the ability to raise similar as-applied challenges at the appropriate time after the establishment of a factual record, the defendant's motion based on First Amendment grounds are denied. So ordered this 4th day of April, 2024. So as I predicted, and I'm really not taking too much credit for this prediction because it was painfully obvious that this was going to be the case, the judge says, look, after evidence is adduced, feel free to make this motion again if the prosecution fails to make any evidence proving that these knowingly false statements, proving that these statements were false. If they were false, that they were knowingly false, and if they were knowingly false, that they were made in furtherance of a crime. If the prosecution fails to make any evidence to that effect, at that time, re-present a motion, and I'll think about it a second time. But for now, it's premature. Let's move on with the trial. After we see what happens with the Georgia Court of Appeal, because they have filed their motion for permission to appeal to the Georgia Court of Appeal, we will see if a judge on the panel says, yes, we're going to take it up. We're going to see if the judges disqualify Fani from the file, which would throw a monumental, a nuclear wrench in the wheels of this persecution, because I nonetheless still feel that this is a wicked persecution. We'll see what happens, but if you like what I do, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop a comment in the comment section below. Viva Fry on Rumble, the Viva Fry on Twitter. Viva Barnes Law.
All right, so Viva Fry, and I did leave the link to this video right here down in the description so you can check it out. Please check Viva out. Let them know that I sent you. I agree. Now, it's not because I want Fani's case to get thrown out, but I don't believe that it is as strong as they are trying to prop it up to look, as if it is just some slam dunk type of scenario. And I think we know that because every time they ask for an appeal, they automatically get it. And I think keep in mind, the appeals still haven't been approved yet. So I want to say they had like 10 days after the initial decision. So and all they need is one judge to say, yeah, I want us to hear this. And then it's off to the races again. So then that whole disqualification starts over again, or at least they make the case again. So then this is going to be yet another example. I think Scott McAfee should just go ahead either and start slapping these down. And again, I don't think that he wants to be controversial. Somebody said it. I think it's right here. I think Scott McAfee knew. I got to change that color. I think Scott McAfee knew kicking Fani would be very controversial at his level, but also knew that the appeals court could do it in a more palatable manner. That's it. And I think that's what it is. I think that's all at the end of the day what the issue is just that he didn't want to be the one to do it. And if he kicked her out, then of course there would be some kind of shenanigans and hijinks about that. But if he lets the courts of appeal do it, then he's taking the weight off his shoulder. I hate that, but I think that's what happens. All right, I am trying to find out why this. Thank you so much for checking out DearWokeChristian.com. Thank you so much, Shar. I appreciate that. All right, let's see what we got here. No, that's not it. All right, I'm trying to fix this, the way this looks. I don't know why it's so clear and it's not. I don't know what I did wrong. All right, I'll figure it out eventually. All right, let's go. They already found the voter fraud. Yeah, that's the part. Like, we're already finding out, Deborah says, they already found the voter fraud in Georgia and they destroyed it. That's a crime. That's criminal too, rather. And we've already seen it. So I don't know why we're having such consternation and saying that, oh, there's nothing wrong, when in fact, we've already seen it. We know it. It is what it is. Now, one of the other things that a lot of people have brought up, and on Monday, I think I'm going to go over the infamous church speech. So I went and got the whole thing. It's like 45 minutes long. And I'm going to go over the entire church speech. I have seen some other really smart body language experts and psychologists go over it as well. But I'm just going to go over and just kind of explain my perspective on it. And I think a lot of us kind of missed why it is that the church speech was so problematic. And, you know, again, it literally has a title, the church speech. So I think a lot of us have kind of missed it and didn't really internalize it because, one, you didn't hear it. A lot of people just listen to sound bites of it. I actually listened to the whole thing from the moment she stepped into the pulpit till the time she walked all the way back to her seat. So it's really long, but a lot of us didn't hear it. And so on Monday, I think I'm gonna go over the whole thing. If you're interested, I'll make it, I'll post it probably tomorrow. So you can check it out. Definitely hit the notification button, all that kind of stuff, so you'll be made aware of it. But one of the things that came out of that is that a lot of people think Fani Willis talks too much. She talks too much. And I want to pull up a couple of examples of this. And these are not necessarily all right-leaning people that are saying Fani Willis is saying entirely too much. And I think therein is going to be the problem. That, again, as I said before, I think she's trying to hobble her own case. And you'll see in a second. Now, by the way, I do have 164 people that have liked this video. Can you like the video? Can I get up to 170? That would be dope. I really appreciate it. But real quick, let's see what this is. Let's go.
Gag order against Fulton County DA Fani Willis. Willis has spoken at length about the case to the media and in other public appearances and has been scolded by the judge in the case for making racially charged comments about it.
The trick is there are a lot of defendants who still want to see Fani Willis removed from the case. So they don't necessarily want to ask for a gag order while they're still trying to have her removed while they wait to see if an appeals court will take this up.
This is the latest step in what has been an exhaustive effort by the Trump team to have the case dismissed and Willis and her entire office removed.
Former President Trump is appealing a key ruling in the Georgia election interference case, saying that the judge was wrong in keeping the DA, Fani Willis, on the case.
This morning, a judge is considering a motion to dismiss charges against former President Donald Trump in the Georgia 2020 election interference case.
Now we are following the latest in the Fulton County District Attorney disqualification saga.
Even after her lead prosecutor stepped down, Donald Trump and 8 of his co-defendants filed an appeal to get District Attorney Fani Willis removed too from the high-stakes election interference case in Georgia. The appeal calling Willis, quote, utterly unrepentant about her romantic relationship with former prosecutor Nathan Wade.
Once you have the appearance of impropriety under forensic misconduct, the law in Georgia is clear. That's enough to disqualify.
Now we are.
Okay, I want to point out something that I don't think many people make a lot of hay about. If you are, for example, let's say that you commit a crime, okay? You accidentally kick your pet gerbil, all right? And you're going to jail, all right? You kicked your pet gerbil, you're going to jail. Now, if you found out that the prosecutor that is going to prosecute your kicking gerbil case is not only a gerbil pet owner, but they sit on the board of the National Gerbils Are Great Association. They give lots of money to the Gerbils Are Great Association, and they have gerbil printed on their car, and they got a gerbil tattoo. Would you feel that that person was non-biased in their approach to you as somebody who has kicked a gerbil? You've committed a crime, and this person is in all these different positions that seem like they're not really going to be for you. Do you feel like that person would be for you? Can you, in the chat, can you just let me know? Do you feel like, and yeah, hey, I feel like I would get a fair and valid trial. I'd get my day in court, even though the prosecutor sits on the board of the Gerbil Association. Okay? No, don't make me graduate to first grade. No. I like being a pre-K law student. Now, the reason I bring that up, and I would love for you to comment, let me know, do you feel like you would get a fair and balanced trial? Do you feel like this would be the right, like, yes, everything's going to go well? Do you feel that way? And I at the current moment, all right, looks like a lot of people put McAfee in timeout. Okay. No, not a fair trial. All right. Patty says she would not get a fair trial. What is the gerbil's political affiliation? I don't know. Come on, man. I don't know. All right. No. All right. So I think you all understand. One of the things that I've heard it mentioned so many times is called a fair and impartial, an impassionate prosecutor. The prosecutor should have, for lack of a better term, no vested interest in the case. They just want to try the case. You kick the gerbil. The law says thou shalt not kick gerbils. You kick the gerbil, get 100 lashes with a wet noodle. There, problem solved. You should not be a situation where the prosecutor is almost a part of the case, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is, and go back to my crazy gerbil example, the fact that the prosecutor sits on the national board of Gerbils Are Great and has a gerbil tattoo and has named their dog Gerbil and has gerbil, icons on their car. I don't look at that person and say that they're impassionate, that they're not interested and not invested in gerbils. Okay, they give hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Gerbil Association every year. Yeah, they're invested in it. So when they try this case of me kicking gerbils, gerbil lives matter. Why are you people like this? Y'all, why is Discernment Files like this? Why is my font like this? We're going to make this right. I'm going to get this fixed. I promise you. I have no idea what I did, though. Let me fix this. All right. Why are you like this, Discernment Files? Why? Why are you like this? Okay, that's not perfect. That's really not perfect. I don't like that either. I'm not really a fan of that. Here, we're going to go with this. Discernment Files. Why do I feel like making mac and cheese? Why are you people like this? Why are you people like this? Man, you people are crazy. And I love you all. Every last one of you. All right, now we're going to change this. All right, I think we got it to some degree. Oh my gosh. We are definitely going to talk to management about this. Woo, that's so much better. All right, talking to management. Now y'all found the gerbil emoji. So I think we can see real quickly. See, there you go, Zeb. Is the gerbil part of the plus community? Because if it's a part of the plus community, that's going to change the game. Absolutely. I think we all can see. And what I'm noticing about Fani is, this is a personal mission of Fani Willis. I guarantee you, she would not be this engaged in if there was a case about Jason kicked a gerbil. I promise you, she's not going to be that invested. She is vitally invested in this case. And I believe that's going to be part of, one, why she ends up ruining the case. Two, she's going to end up being put on gag order because she just keeps talking about it. Now, if it was just, again, an international situation where there's an international ring of people kicking gerbils and she wants to talk, but she wouldn't be talking about it this much. She's almost inserted herself as a member or a part of the actual case. And that's going to be a problem. But we'll talk about it a little bit more. Let's go.
Following the latest in the Fulton County District Attorney disqualification saga.
Even after her lead prosecutor stepped down, Donald Trump and 8 of his co-defendants filed an appeal to get District Attorney Fani Willis removed too from the high-stakes election interference case in Georgia. The appeal calling Willis, quote, utterly unrepentant about her romantic relationship with former prosecutor Nathan Wade. Judge Scott McAfee, who first heard the Trump team's complaint, was unconvinced Willis benefited financially from her relationship with Wade, but said there was significant appearance of impropriety and ruled only one of them had to leave the case. The Trump team now calling that decision a, quote, plain legal error requiring reversal and asking the Georgia Court of Appeals to weigh in immediately before any trial takes place. The disqualification effort has distracted from the underlying criminal charges at hand. Willis saying as much, frustrated when she took the stand last month.
You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020.
In August, Trump and 18 others were charged with illegally conspiring to overturn Trump's 2020 election law.
All right, so here's the picture real quick. Again, notice everybody else in this picture except this one man right here, Harrison Floyd, went to jail. I'm sorry, wait, let me say it another way. Everybody except Harrison Floyd is the only one that went to jail. There we go. Sorry, said it backwards. Harrison Floyd. Now again, man, I'm like, where was the outrage? He's the only black man that went to jail. Where was the outrage? Where was the outrage? Oh, it's because it's a Republican. Oh, okay, I got you. It's because it was dealing with Trump. Okay, never mind. My bad. I forgot how we play this game. My bad.
In Georgia. Now, Trump and the other remaining defendants pleaded not guilty to all charges.
Defense lawyers argued in their brief Friday a recent ruling which led to a withdrawal of Nathan Wade from the case didn't go far enough and should have also disqualified Willis and her entire office from the case. They claim that Willis' romantic relationship with Wade created an actual and apparent conflict of interest that damaged their ability to impartially prosecute the case.
Impartially. That's the problem. And when you go back and listen to Fani, and when we do the church speech on Monday, I just want you to just ask yourself, is this an impartial woman? Is she just, well, first of all, she wouldn't be talking about it if she was impartial, but is this an impartial prosecutor? Is this prosecutor invested in this? Is this prosecutor maybe tied a little bit too closely to this? Like, shouldn't they want? Oh, mercy. Oh, gosh. Y'all pray for it.
Free.
What do you want?
Can I meet up with the squad?
What chores and tasks have you done?
I emptied the dishwasher. I finished my laundry. I'm in the process of cleaning the bathroom.
Hold on. Let me ask the chat.
Should be noted. Okay, let's be so serious.
Here, okay, everybody, we're gonna take a commercial break. All right, let's bring the chat in here. This is group parenting. Okay, we're gonna parent. All right. Let me tell you real quick. President First. Hey, I got the mic, so I can mute you at any moment. President Firstborn wants to go to the Marietta Market, which is like a big food court around here. Is that where you're going to the square?
Yeah, there, and we'll just wander.
She's going to wander around with her friends. A bunch of derelict high school kids that have not, probably haven't done their chores or anything important in life. All right, so what's your case? Make your case.
Two of my good friends who I haven't seen in a minute.
A minute, like you saw them last week.
And it's been, a lot has happened in a week
Goodbye.
that I have to catch them up on. And he was like, okay, what chores have you done? Okay, hear me out. I did my laundry, which my mother broke into my room this morning to tell me to do. And yeah, so that was traumatizing. What else have I done? Oh,
What else have you done?
I emptied the dishwasher when he told me to. Awesome. Additionally, now here's the kicker. Our bathroom was disgusting. For note, I have not been here for a week. So whose fault is that? Probably. Definitely not mine. Probably my sister's. And so what have I been doing while Taylor's been cleaning her room? Cleaning the bathroom. Her sink is disgusting. And I just cleaned that like I was Cinderella or something.
Oh, no, not the Cinderella. You trying Cinderella?
I feel as though...
You going to throw Cinderella in here? Really?
I feel as though at 3, which is 2 hours from now, I should go to the market with my friends. Let her have fun before the apocalypse gets us tomorrow.
All right. Look, is it tomorrow? It's Monday, right? Oh, yeah, the apocalypse is Monday. No, we're not talking about the eclipse. All right, so so matter of fact, here we go. I'm gonna make a poll. So go do something with your life, and I'm gonna make a poll. I'm gonna ask.
Bye, Daddy.
Toodles.
How old am I? I'm 16.
Should DD1 go to the market? Yes or no? All right, there you go. The poll question is in there. You all. Oh my gosh.
Character thing, it should be noted, because I promised someone I'd use this in more options. I'd use this in more arguments. For note, Daddy, I just want to go walk around the market with my homies. Charlie said she wants to go window shopping, so we can go do that. I could be out doing street heroin. What should I tell Mom?
Did you work on that one? Did you practice that one at all?
Yeah, I talked to Mom about this.
About
how I could be out doing black tar heroin off of some junkie street.
Could you go away? Please.
So just to put it in perspective.
You know what? Okay, how about this one? I have 189 likes. If I get to 225, then I'll let you go.
Do I have to go run this up on my Instagram story?
I'm trying to figure out why you're not on Instagram now. Telling people my dad's on right now. Why are you not? That's the question.
Marcus saw your channel. I think he subscribed.
Oh man, I don't want that little boy. Oh my gosh, wait! All these people are clicking the wrong answer. Oh my word! Why are y'all people clicking the wrong answer? What's wrong with you people?
Yay!
Go away. Go do something with your existence. Goodbye. Please continue cleaning. I'm telling you, my kids are crazy, man. Thank y'all so much for enduring. I mean, if I was smart, I would capture all these silly daughter break-ins and put them all into like a omnibus episode. Because the funny thing is, this probably happens every week, at least once a week. We used to do like I do have a video, a montage of all the times she was breaking in. Like when I first started doing YouTube, I have that somewhere. I'm gonna find it, and maybe I'll make that available to y'all to see. But yeah, man, my kids are nuts, man. That's my kid, man. I love that girl. She's nuts though. So let me see. All of y'all are somebody's feeling me. Somebody said no on the poll. So you and I are on the same page. All right, let's finish this thing up. Let's figure out why is Fani going to be put on timeout.
Now up to a panel of 3 appellate judges to decide whether to accept the appeal. Their decision could have major consequences for Willis' stated goal of taking the case to trial before the November election.
Mark, does this motion filed yesterday have a shot? And if granted in Trump's favor, what happens next?
Yeah, because the case in Atlanta is not over, Todd, this means this is an interlocutory appeal, which are sometimes granted, but often not. So, yes, I think this is a likelihood this is going to be granted, Todd, because the reality is this is an extraordinary case. The trial judge, Judge McAfee, specifically said that the law of Georgia dealing with the disqualification of district attorneys is a little vague and unclear. And he, I suspect, is going to agree with the Trump defendants that it's appropriate for the Georgia Court of Appeals to step in and look at this to clarify the law. This is a very big case. Not only do you have the fates and the fortunes of the individual defendants at play here, you're also dealing with the potential future president of the United States, again, with Donald Trump. So this is a big deal. A lot of ambiguities associated with Georgia law. So I think that there's a good chance that the trial judge here, Scott McAfee, is going to grant this request, and that goes up to the Georgia Court of Appeals. And by the way, the Georgia Court of Appeals then has to also agree that the case should be heard now to clarify the law of disqualification of district attorneys.
So basically what this all means, the The appeal and the process that it triggers all but assures that there's no way that this case is going to come to a decision by November 5th, Election Day.
I think there's no way that's going to happen either way. I mean, the amount of discovery and information and the exchange of documents is so voluminous, Todd, in this case, that I don't see how they could possibly get all the pretrial motions, the pretrial discovery, the review of the evidence, the dealing with experts. I don't see how they could get such a large and complex case with this amount of evidence, done in time to try the case by November. It just seems to me almost impossible physically to get that done, regardless of what happens with this request for an appeal.
Your client. Okay, real quick, because Ashley Merchant is about to explain. Okay, here in the chat. Okay, let me ask a question. If you are being brought up on charges for kicking a gerbil and your team needs to come up with a defense, it's called the sharing of evidence between the prosecution and the defense is called discovery. Okay, I learned that in pre-K law school. Now, discover, and let me ask you a question. Do you think it's a good thing to get all of the information up front? So the cell phone data, bank records, closed circuit television cameras, video links, all that kind of stuff. The prosecution has that evidence, and they're going to share it with the defense so you can build a proper defense, okay? And vice versa. If you have evidence, you're going to share it with the prosecution, and it's discovery. Now, let me ask a question. Is it better to get it all up front or to get it like in trickles? Like, what do you think? In the chat, let me know what you think. Should they just get it all like, here's everything we got. We got 10 boxes of evidence. Or is it better that they just give you one box this week and then they give you another box next week? And then maybe a week and a half later, give you another box. Maybe we give you 2 boxes for your birthday. Like, what do you think about that? Oh, interesting, Melissa. Melissa says, of course, all of the evidence must be brought up front. That would make sense. I think you all know where I'm going, okay? It would make sense for them to get all of the information up front, all right? My like button is stuck on 165. I got 209. I don't know. I think I might be feeling nice today. If she takes her sister, maybe I'll let her go. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know, Todd. I think y'all might have won. All right. Up front. Got you. All the boxes at once. All right. So most people are agreeing that it probably would be good to give all of the evidence up front so that the other team can make their proper defense and then you can prosecute it properly. Makes sense, right? Watch what Ashley says. Oh, and by the way, if they give you a whole traditional banker box of files, it's fair to say that it's going to take you some time to kind of parse through it and see what's needful, what's useful, so on and so forth. I think we all can agree to that. So it would probably make more sense to have it well before before the trial starts, so that you have time to kind of get through it, find out what's in it, what you need, what you don't need, so on and so forth. I don't know why my state, now I'm going to call shade on my own state. I don't know why my state does not require prosecution and defense to share data in a timely manner. Wait till you hear what Ashley says. And just ask yourself, how in the world is this case going to get brought to trial before 2025? Watch this.
Michael Roman, what does the indictment say that he did? The indictment say, and how is he getting through this? I mean, what's the impact on him and his family?
Yeah.
Because every defendant, guilty or innocent, has a huge family impact.
Completely. I mean, a huge family impact. Just the fear of going to trial, the fear of what could happen, watching what's happened so far, wondering if you're going to get a fair trial. I mean, that is terrifying. I can tell you his charges, ironically, are false statements, but it's conspiring to file false statements. So the counts that he's charged with in the indictment, they're essentially saying that he conspired with other people to help get the elector slate filed, and that because that was a false slate, he therefore conspired to commit a crime. It's one of those what we would call bootstrapping.
How was he even involved to begin with? How is he even connected to the election process to begin with?
He worked for the campaign. So he was actually, his official title was Election Day Chairperson. So he worked for the campaign. But I think the best way to describe it is more of a logistics type person, not anyone that's why nobody knows his name. He's not one of those people that is out there making statements and things like that. More of a logistics, more of like, my paralegal who's filing things for me, moving things around, working at my direction. I think it's more akin to something like that. But I can tell you he's got kids. I mean, this has been heartbreaking to see what he's going through and what every criminal defendant goes through when they're accused of something that they didn't do and they have to fight just for their fair day in court and for a fair trial. And they've got.
Okay, I've got to stop because she's about to drop some nuggets right here. Most of you heard that Nathan Wade was a rock star at getting getting people to plead out. Does everybody remember that? They're like, oh, well, he was successful in getting so-and-so to plead out. He's gotten so many cases, so many people involved in this RICO to plead out, right? All right. Ashley Merchant is about to explain why they pled out. And it is a whole different game. I was totally like, yo, that's why I really wanted you all to hear this because, and shout out to the immigration, the U.S. Immigration on YouTube, it's actual channel, because I didn't know this. I just thought people were pleading out because they knew they were in trouble. Wait till she explains why they pled out. It's a whole different game. Matter of fact, I think most of us probably would plead out if you understood what she's about to say. Even if you say, like, I really didn't kick the gerbil or I hate gerbils. But you say, you know what? Yep, I plead guilty to kicking a gerbil. Watch.
So much public opinion against them, and it takes so long for them to finally get to the point where they can get their side of the story told.
And probably what people don't realize is if you're one of 19, I guess it's been whittled down, defendants, is that, well, your trial, if you were the only defendant trialed singly, it might take 2 days and cost X number of dollars. But when you're in a case that there are 19 defendants, it could take really a long time, a lot of hours, and it really does, in many instances, these multi-defendant cases, bankrupt people.
Oh, and Greta, I am convinced that's why the people that we saw pled, because we saw a couple lawyers who were later in their careers. And, if you have worked your whole life to amass a savings and you just want to spend time with your grandkids, you get indicted. Do you want to spend the next 2 years of your life sitting in a courtroom paying lawyers to defend you? Or do you want to go travel the world with that money and retire in peace? I mean, it's one of those decisions. So it does not surprise me at all that those folks took pleas. I can't say that I wouldn't plead to something I didn't do if I was in that same situation. So,
they got offered probation. I would have.
So some of these people said, look, it's going to cost me. Wait till you hear how much the fines were. Y'all are not ready for how much the fines were for those people that pled out. Matter of fact, watch in the chat. How much do you think the fines were let me back that up just a little smidgen so you can kind of see these people again right there. How much do you think the fines were for these people? They're going to tell you in a second about how much they were. How much do you think their fines? So they pled guilty to whatever, and they got some kind of sentencing, probably probation and a fine. How much do you think their fines were? I can't wait. Wait till you hear how much their fines were. Like, how much do you think their fines were? Because that's the part, like, this right here is completely, like, I thought RICO was a false, I didn't think she was using it correctly, and I thought it was being used bombastically, but now I'm convinced that's why she was doing it. I'm convinced. Oh my gosh. A gabillion, jillion, million, okay? 200 grand. Interesting. Okay. $1 million, $50,000, $100,000. Interesting. Okay. Okay. In a moment, they're going to tell us 250,000, 500,000, 500. Okay. No, wait till you hear how much the fines were, and just ask yourself, if I was being indicted and asked to plead out, would I plead out for this? Wait till you hear this.
Who were later in their careers. And, if you have worked your whole life to amass a savings and you just want to spend time with your grandkids, you get indicted. Do you want to spend the next 2 years of your life sitting in a courtroom paying lawyers to defend you? Or do you want to go travel the world with that money and retire in peace? I mean, it's one of those decisions. So it does not surprise me at all that those folks took pleas. I can't say that I wouldn't plead to something I didn't do if I was in that same situation. So, you know.
They got offered probation. I would have leaned on my client to take that. They offered probation and write a letter of apology. I mean, you'd actually be insane not to take that. Yeah.
Their whole punishment was $5,000.
$5,000. $5K. The price of a used 1997 Honda Civic. And that's probably not right. I'm sorry. 2008 Honda Civic. Okay. $5,000. $5K. That's how much their fine was.
I mean, that they would spend that in one day defending themselves, you know, like it's a no-brainer, really. So, you know, people are saying, oh, well, it's been such a successful prosecution. They got a couple pleas for $5,000 fines. That, you know, on all of the resources brought on this case, all of the allegations made, all of the efforts, I don't know that that's, you know, this big slam dunk over this, you know, wonderful prosecution. I take issue with that.
The invoices that I saw of Nathan Wade's bills, a couple things. Number one is, I think it's over a period of about 18 months, but how much in general do prosecutors make in that community? So I'm thinking if she went inside, used one of her inside offices, that. Secondly, is that it's in block billing. I don't know what the habit is down in Georgia, but I build in 6-minute increments. I didn't build in 24-hour blocks. I've never seen, but maybe that's part of the legal culture down in there. But I was scandalized by the billing. Can you shed some light on that and tell me how it's done in Georgia?
You are correct. I think most lawyers were scandalized by the billing. My husband used to work at a firm. They billed in 6-minute increments. Whenever I've billed for the government, I work in 10-minute increments. Anybody who does government defense work, which, you know, the federal government still pays lawyers to do defense work, there is no way that this would ever have been approved if you submitted a bill like this. If you submitted it to a private client, they would have sent it back. If you submitted it to...
Y'all are killing me in this chat. Yes, they paid $5,000 in fines. So they spent millions of dollars and got $5,000 back. What a wonderful investment. And somebody asked the question, how much were their attorney fees? I don't know, but imagine that. So, okay, right here. There you go. I wonder what their attorney fees were besides that. So they probably paid more in attorney fees than they paid in the fine. I'm sure of it. I'm sure they did. They pay more in attorney's fees than they paid in the fine. But like, they're not getting anything from that. There's not the state gets nothing, and this is a waste. This is a total waste of taxpayer money, right? That Kenya says, what a waste of taxpayers' money. I don't go to work to pay for this kind of malarkey, and she spelled malarkey correctly. Kudos on that. But yeah, like this is such a waste. Now, if it were a true crime and then you wouldn't accept the plea. You would take them right to court because you know you're going to slam dunk it. But you're not. You know that you don't. I'm sure if we went back and looked at that picture, most of those people in those pictures are just there because they want to bolster up their case and have more names on the roster, on the RICO roster than they don't. That's it. That's all it is. Let's let Ashley finish. Go ahead, Ashley.
Public client, you know, the government, they would have sent it back. But what we had here was we had a situation where only one person had to approve the bill, and it was Ms. Willis. So nobody is there to do this checks and balances because she just approves the bills. So if there's, you know, 24 hours for drafting. Yeah, I didn't
mean to stop. Kim, this is another reason. Yeah, like plead it out and then don't hear my name. You're not going to drag my name. Like I know who Michael Roman is because they didn't offer him a plea deal. He might have pled out and been the fifth person. So that's another reason why. This is a shakedown of epic proportions. That's all.
I haven't seen a single document that Mr. Wade actually drafted. Not one single document. But who's asking that question? You know, nobody's asking that. The majority, I actually did a fun little exercise to see how much of the bills were spent on team meetings. And what he did was he called them different things. He called them team meetings, team brain drain, team conference, you know, team review. But that's essentially sitting around in a room talking with everybody else who's being paid a government salary about a case. When he's sitting in court, he's billing $250 an hour. He's not arguing. The other people are arguing, but he's sitting there billing. And so that's why we see these huge bills, because he's essentially being paid to just sit there and manage everything while other people are doing the work. It's incredible. It would never work in private practice.
Who are those other people? Is that separate staff that he's hired, or those lawyers in her office?
Lawyers in her office, and they're very good lawyers in her office, very capable lawyers in her office that are doing the heavy lifting in this case. So, I've never heard a satisfactory explanation for why we needed this outside lawyer to handle this case, why we needed him when she's got staff that are great. And, you asked a good question. How much do they make? The top lawyers in her office make around $190,000, around $190,000. And, the upper echelon, but not the top, around $150,000. So he's making way out of that league. But I think it's beyond just what he's making. He's also permitted to have a private practice. And that's a really big deal, because when you're a government employee, you cannot practice law privately. It is just an inherent conflict. You can't do it. He's still able to do it. So he still has a private practice that he's able to make money off of while he's getting this government paycheck for this hourly rate. So, not only is she able to exceed the statutory, and there's statutory limitations on how much a district attorney can make, she's able to avoid this prohibition on outside work. She's able to avoid.
Let me correct myself. Thank you so much, the Apex. I do remember now, after I said it, they did offer Michael Roman a plea, and he didn't want to take it because you're right. You are correct. So I do apologize for that. I did misspeak. All right, let's go. Oh, by the way, clearly my poll on whether or not Dear Daughter 1 should be able to go to the Marietta Market, clearly the poll is broken because entirely too many people voted yes. So I'm just going to assume that it must be broken, and I'll just make my own decision. No, I'll let her go. She's got some work to do, but she'll get it done before she goes.
Nepotism conflicts, where you're not allowed to hire someone you're dating. So this, it avoids all of those issues by paying him as outside counsel.
I'm surprised there wasn't a coup in her office of that staff to him. I mean, if he's just sitting there and he's getting $250 an hour and they're doing the heavy lifting. I mean, I got to say, these prosecutors in her office are doing that. I don't understand, why there's some grumbling or leaking about that, but maybe it didn't bother them. But anyway, let me turn to one thing. I looked at that billing, and there were some meetings at the White House. Now, there could be some legitimate ones in terms of determining who the White House is willing to permit documents to come from, or there may be some logistics. There's also one, though, meeting with White House counsel, I think, in Athens, Georgia, which makes no sense to me. But do you have any information about whether the meetings at the White House were legitimate for the advancement of the case, or whether there's something sinister, whether there's any political influence involved there, or are you suspicious of that? And what's with that Athens, Georgia? Why was the White House counsel in Athens, Georgia?
We wondered about the Athens, Georgia, and the only thing that we could figure was there was some type of a legal symposium, because Georgia Law School is there, and it's a good law school.
The University of Georgia is in Athens, Georgia. So, yes, it is a phenomenal law school. I'm trying to get President Firstborn to go there. So, yeah, shout out to UGA. Go Dogs.
And so, there must have been something where someone from the White House was there. And so it just made sense for them to go over and meet there. And unfortunately, we don't know the content of all of the meetings that happened at the White House. What we've been told in court when we raised these issues, or that they did meet with the January 6th committee lawyers. They met with lawyers for DOJ, and that they were permitted access. They were able to actually listen to interviews, take notes. They weren't able to take documents out of there, but they were able to
What happened?
Take things. Notes. Mr. Wade didn't have notes. So we don't have any notes from those meetings, but that's what we were told happened at those meetings.
Well, not to get into the weeds, but what is the January 6th? What's the legal theory bringing the January 6th in your case? I mean, your case is about election interference in Georgia about and around the election, which would be November, early December. January 6th is 1,000 miles away, and 6 weeks later. What would be the particular relevance that they'd have to spend time at the White House or the Department of Justice for that? Because then it happened after the fact. Your crime in theory was already completed.
Right. I mean, and that makes perfect sense to me as well. Their explanation is that they were getting access to interviews, that a lot of the witnesses, because a lot of witnesses apparently were not just thrilled to come down to Georgia and testify in front of the grand jury. So they were getting access to witness interviews, interviews that the committee had actually done, the congressional committee had actually already done. All of them, and the crazy thing is we're still getting discovery. So,
Oh, this is the part. Now, listen to Ashley finish this up, talking about discovery. Listen to this.
Whenever you hear people say, oh, well, we're trying to stall the case, if the district attorney wanted to try this case quickly, the day they indicted it, they would have handed us discovery. They would have had it ready. They would have said, come pick up your bond.
Well, aren't they supposed to? Aren't they obliged to? I mean, President Trump here in Washington, the day he got indicted here in Washington, his team got dumped with 12.5 million pages. I mean, discovery is supposed to be complete, and they're supposed to be over their investigation. They have the indictment, and supposedly they're getting ready for trial. You're still getting discovery now?
I have discovery waiting for me at the DA's office to go pick up still. I think it's the 5th or 6th round of discovery. We are still getting more discovery. And the other thing, they had not had any of the transcripts from the special purpose grand jury transcribed. So we actually had to file a motion to litigate that to actually get those witnesses' testimony. And so they're still working to get through all of those and transcribe them. So we still don't know.
Why haven't you gone? Why haven't you raised this at McAfee? I mean, look, defense lawyer has to be able to, look, I don't know if all your clients are guilty or not, but they're entitled to a fair trial, including entitled to discovery, know what the government has against them, and it can't just be this drip, because that simply isn't fair. They should provide the discovery at the get-go so that your client can exercise constitutional rights to have a fair trial. So why is he getting this drip? Apparently, it's not a very well organized prosecution.
So I'll tell you what the law in Georgia says about that, and you will be shocked, I guarantee. We only have to give us discovery 10 days prior to trial. So McAfee has actually been above and beyond what the law in Georgia requires. It is essentially the Wild West of trials here in Georgia. We have not updated our discovery statute despite trying over and over again. And so the government does not have to give us their file until 10 days prior. Luckily, McAfee has a court order that has required them to continue to give us discovery early, but we don't have a statute to fall back on because the law does not actually require early and advanced discovery, which I agree with you is awful. And it does nothing to ensure a fair trial. It does nothing to ensure due process.
All right. It was a disqualification. It wasn't a trial, but it was a hearing. How is that going to affect Trump's case now? How do they squeeze that into their argument?
Well, I think it's a separate argument that's being made and now litigated on appeal. And I think the appellate court may look dimly on the misbehavior, the misconduct of Fani Willis. It makes no sense that she and Nathan Wade, her lover, both engaged in the same improper conduct that violates the canons of ethics, yet only one gets disqualified and the other remains. I mean, that makes no sense. No. So that will be litigated on appeal separately.
I see. All right, but it is RICO. I mean, I know AOC says RICO's not a crime, but it is a crime. It's a very complex crime to prosecute. And in order to get everything together, you have to have really top. Wade was not one such person. So little did he know about the whole thing that he had these meetings at the White House. What more do we need to know about those White House meetings? Who was talking to him, and were they actually giving him advice of how to carry out a RICO case?
Fani Willis has long claimed this is not a politically motivated prosecution. There was no coordination with the White House or the Biden campaign. That's undermined by the billing records of Nathan Wade. He charged 16 hours, 2 meetings, 8 hours each with the White House. Nobody's answered that question. I think from a political standpoint, much less a legal one, Americans deserve the answer. Was this entire prosecution coordinated with Donald Trump's political opponent? Don't forget, it was Joe Biden who urged that Trump be prosecuted. Right. He told it to a bunch of aides, and upon instructions, they leaked it to the media, and overnight, Merrick Garland, his attorney general, got his marching orders and the prosecutions of Trump began. Yeah. So this is a president who's incumbent who realizes his polls are in the toilet, and he decided lawfare might be the best way to get rid of his opponent, Donald Trump.
All right. I just wanted you to get a couple of again, clearing out the traps. And I just wanted you to get a couple of snippets, if you will, of what's been happening and get your opinions. So I got one more fun one, and I was making a lot of fun out of this one because I thought it was so ridiculous. I don't like political endorsements from athletes, entertainers, musicians, socialites, influencers. I don't like those. And I think many of us have seen those, definitely during the Obama run, the endorsements from people that their profession is to pretend like they're somebody really was at a fever pitch. Okay. Same thing with Joe. When Joe was running, there were a lot of people that were just, he's so wonderful. He's so great. He's the best thing ever. He's so much better than the mean guy over there, blah, 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 blah. And so we all saw it. And however, I think a good question to ask yourself is, what happens to those endorsements when they know that their endorsement has hurt their pocket? And I think that's the question that many of us would ask. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to, if you are a wrestling WWE fan, you might know this man. He is the most electrifying, the most entertaining athlete in sports entertainment, bar none. I'm sorry. He is so charismatic. He is so much high energy. You probably know who I'm talking about. You probably know who I'm referring to. If you do, why don't you drop it in the chat? But I'm going to bring his name. I'm going to bring him in real quick because I think
appears to regret his endorsement of Joe Biden back in 2020.
Am I happy with the state of America right now? Well, that answer is no. Do I believe we're going to get better? I believe in that. I'm an optimistic guy, and I believe we can get better. The endorsement that I made years ago with Biden was one I thought was the best decision for me at that time. And I thought back then, when we talk about, hey, I'm in this position where I have some influence, and it's my job then. I felt like that then. It's my job now to exercise my influence and share with this is who I'm going to endorse. Am I going to do that again this year? That answer is no. Didn't realize it then. I just thought, hey, our country feels like there's a lot of unrest. It feels like I would like things to calm down. Maybe we need a change. This is what I'm going to do, and this is who I'm going to endorse. Months and months and months, I started to realize, like, oh man, that caused an incredible amount of division in our country. So I realize now going into this election, I'm not going to do that. I wouldn't do that because my goal is to bring our country together. I do trust the American people, and I trust that whoever they vote for, that's going to be my president, and that's who I'm going to support 100%.
So interesting. What do you make of it, MK?
Have you seen how much it costs to buy protein at this point and how much The Rock has to consume? Okay. So even with the paychecks he's taken home, it's going to be a hit, right? Look, I think that The Rock, despite the size of his arms, is like normie adjacent. He is a person who seems sort of like a red-blooded American who kind of gets normal things. And I think the feeling that he's feeling is, well, I was pitched normalcy and I endorsed this guy who I thought would be that person. And I'm in the gym and I'm paying triple for my protein and it's not feeling like I wanted it to feel. And I imagine it feels worse for other people. So I think it's an unrealized promise of normalcy and feeling better that he's tuning into there.
It's so rare that you have one of these so-called elites, Bridget, Yep. In his own way, he's an elite, given the huge amount of money he's earned and what a huge star he is and the circles of power that he likely travels in terms of getting movies made and so on. To have them come out and say something like this, because make no mistake about it, there will be blowback to The Rock in those circles for even going this far.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like he's been red-pilled, somewhat.
Yes, it does.
Even if he's not outright saying it, it does sound like a man who... So he's not saying he will... Is he saying he won't endorse anybody in this coming election?
Yes.
He's just going to trust the American people.
Yes,
But
and that he regrets having endorsed the last time around, that it caused more division to come out in favor.
So he's not saying kind of the quiet part, which is that he's okay with Trump or okay with people who vote for Trump, which is, you can't say that in Hollywood, even that, like you said, Megan. But I think his audience is more normie. So he's also responding to the fact that there just is a common sense coalition of people who really don't feel represented by mostly anyone. And The Rock is he's kind of right over the target.
It's amazing because, like, he's had it. He's feeling what so many people are feeling, which is the country's in trouble. And maybe we do need, maybe he likes RFKJ. We don't know if it's Trump, but it certainly sounds like it's not going to be Biden this time around. And I was thinking, MK, because the Biden administration is like begging Taylor Swift for an endorsement. Right. So how do you like those? Like, what if The Rock actually does signal more that he's on the other team? He's on, either Trump, and then you got Taylor versus The Rock going. Now that's a contest we can get behind.
What The Rock is cooking.
That's a very serious honestly, I might prefer that one at the ballot box. But I think what he's communicating is something that a lot of regular voters feel, which is that, look, maybe they're not in love with the Trump choice, but they understand why people would make it because they're looking at what happened under Biden. That is a very normal sentiment. And there are plenty of places in our elite circles where they act like that's some giant puzzle. It's not a giant puzzle. I was listening to a Chuck Todd segment with some analysts today, and they were just scratching their heads, just noodling over, like, why aren't the American people understanding how amazing everything is and all these accomplishments? It's like, maybe he's not messaging it correctly. Not one person thinks, maybe it's because they're hurting.
Every now and then you got to get a little hyped up and enjoy a little bit of WWE trash talk, catchphrase montages on YouTube. Those things are the best. I'm sorry. I still think Stone Cold might be one of my favorites, though. But it's definitely between Stone Cold and The Rock. Though their microphone skills are par excellence. There should be college courses taught about how The Rock handle the microphone. Same thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I just think that their ability to, again, electrify the audience. You cannot, again, sure, wrestling might not be real. Okay, don't get me up on Rico. Okay, wrestling might not be real, but you got to admit they're able to hype up a crowd and carry that energy. Because I've gone to WrestleMania and I've watched it. It's crazy. The amount of excitement in that stadium is crazy. It is bananas. And I didn't even realize, like, they were setting up for the most recent WrestleMania with The Rock when he was doing that interview. I didn't even realize that. But you got to give him credit. You got to. Whether you like wrestling or not, whether he's an actor or not, you got to give him credit. You know what? Their ability to their stage persona, their ring persona is definitely top tier. So definitely The Rock, definitely Stone Cold. They both, in my opinion, is just first and second, back and forth. That's my little tidbit right there. But I appreciate it so very much. I thank you all so very much. Look, I think Andre the Giant was great. He just didn't have stage presence. He was a huge human. I did see that WrestleMania when I was a kid in Chicago. I did see that WrestleMania. Okay, he just was a huge human. He was presence was is the fact that he was a big human, but his microphone skills were not there. So again, if you just do a montage of The Rock's stage presence or The Rock's catchphrases, I say even Stone Cold's, you will be, your sides will be hurting because you'll be laughing so hard. These things are the best. And I mean, just, oh my gosh, I could have literally made this an entire segment and not had Megyn Kelly in there at all. Because they were so good. But I'm not trying to take anything away from Megyn Kelly because I do think that they did a great summary of, buyer's remorse for people that elected and voted for and endorsed Biden. Now, I'm not by any means saying that The Rock doesn't have some issues, and he might still go in that ballot box and vote for Biden. I don't know. But I do think he definitely chummed the waters that there is buyer's remorse out there, which we all know is real. So there's that. All right, what we got here? Yeah, that Maui fire thing. I mean, you're right. He was a cool cat. He was a cool guy. I'm not taking anything away from his coolness. I'm just saying his stage presence. Again, if you just do a search for The Rock catchphrase montage or something like that, the best of The Rock, the best of Stone Cold Steve Austin, I don't think you'll come back and say, no, Stone Cold Steve Austin was trash. I don't think you'll say that. I don't think you'll say The Rock was trash. All right, let me see. Again, I just thought it was interesting that he's having a little bit of buyer's remorse. I'm not at all running around saying, oh, The Rock is going to vote for Trump. Not doing anything like that. I just think it's interesting, that kind of stuff. Really? Roddy Piper? Okay, I'm going to have to, look, living the mac and cheese life. When I get done, I will check out a little bit of Roddy Piper. I remember Roddy Piper. I just don't remember Roddy Piper being as entertaining and, dare I say, energetic. Again, this is because remember, when we were younger, I think Mac and Cheese and I are similar in age. When we were younger, they would do the Mean Gene Okerlund interviews, but they weren't in the middle of the ring. The Rock can enter a ring and have the entire place lose its mind. Again, when you hear that glass shatter break, and y'all know what it is, if I say that glass shatter break and you hear it, you know Stone Cold is coming out and he's going to bring, I'm sorry. I will give Roddy Piper an opportunity to win me over. Because hear me, I'm not even giving the Macho Man. I'm not even putting a Macho Man in the same category as Stone Cold and The Rock. So I know we are going way off the rails. I'm going to look at Piper's Pit. I remember Piper's Pit. I remember it. I know we done went way off the rails. People are like, man, how did we go from Megyn Kelly to now we're talking about The Rock and Stone Cold? I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna look it up. Hogan is good. Hogan, listen. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stand on it. The Rock and Stone Cold are just on another level, in my opinion. Hogan is still great, though. Don't get it twisted. He has great stage presence, but I'm just putting it up there. I just really believe that The Rock and Stone Cold were just on another tier. They just pushed it to another level of just energy and excitement and getting people all in a tizzy. If you just go, okay, let's do this. We might have to have like a wrestling only live stream, and I'm gonna pull. We're gonna do a wrestling only live stream, and we're gonna just look at some of the best wrestling intros. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll do wrestling intros or catchphrases. And again, man, I'm just sorry. Okay, this is what we'll do. Because I'm sorry. This is how we'll do it. If you think Hogan or Piper or the Ultimate Warrior or Booker T, whomever, send me your best example of these wrestlers' stage presence that's owning the microphone in the middle of the ring. Okay? So, again, it could be Shawn Michaels. It could be Triple J. It could be Bret Hart. It could be fill in the blank. I don't care. Junkyard Dog. Just send me dearwokec@gmail.com. Hold on, put my email in here. Send me, and we'll do a off script, like we'll do a live stream and just talk about and look at, hopefully we won't get copyright, the different intros, and I just believe that again, the Undertaker. See, the Undertaker, I think we all know has no stage presence. He's just like it's all what they gin up around him. But yeah, I'm sorry, man. I just think everybody goes crazy when the glass shatter breaks, man. And when The Rock and his catchphrases, oh my gosh. Okay, so if you email me, Nacho and Todd and the others, if you just email me your best example, like this is the best example of Hulk Hogan owning the ring, and we'll put it together like a little montage and just check it out, and we'll discuss it. Because again, I think Hogan is fantastic. Definitely better than me. He's better than Jay Witt. I just don't think he's better than Rock. I just don't. Again, The Rock is Stone Cold. I just have to put it in a different category. And hear me, I love the Macho Man. And I'm not even putting the Macho Man even in there. I mean, Hogan and the Macho Man, but then The Rock and Stone Cold on another level. I know. We're going to get in all kinds of trouble. I remember The Undertaker. Yeah, like he didn't have stage presence. I'm talking about like running the microphone. And you pick that microphone up. See, y'all going to make me do it. I'm just going to pull one in. And I say, I don't even know. I'm going to just grab one. I'm just going to do a quick search and get in trouble. Hopefully, I'm not going to get demonetized for this. All right. But I appreciate y'all. You know what? We're just having a good time. I want to thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Thank you so much for the best of the Rock trash talk. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Okay. See, it might be language in here. I got to find a short one. Let me find the shortest. Oh, my goodness. This one looks like it could be good, but I just don't know if there's going to be language in it. I'm going to listen to it in my ear. I don't want to cause anybody any problems with the language. All right. Dog, I already cussing. Okay. Yeah, this has got language. Darn it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to find one that doesn't have cursing in it, or at least I have time to edit it out. But yeah, because this one right here has got dog. I don't want to cause. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I just think. Okay, let me see this. All right, this is what I'm gonna do. The best of the Rock intros. Maybe that's it. Order to keep them from hitting me with a strike. But my point is, again, I think The Rock and Stone Cold are definitely, they're just in another league by themselves. That's it. That's all. I'm not trying to say that they're better. I'm not trying to say that Hogan is lesser. I'm not trying to say that Piper was lesser. But Rock and Stone Cold just had another level of engagement with the audience. And see, this is what, I'll be honest with you, I don't think this is what a particular presidential candidate has when he comes into an arena. I don't think he generates that level of excitement, that level of enthusiasm, that level of, I mean, you saw the signs and hear all the screaming and all of that kind of stuff like that. I just don't think he has it. And yeah. Wrestle Scream 24. Make it happen, people. I love it. I don't even know how we got here. I have no idea. But I just want to say again, I think The Rock has a fantastic stage presence. That's all. That's all. Oh, wait, you don't see it? What you mean, Tater Skin? You don't see what? Yeah, it's different eras, but yeah, definitely in WWF era, and now I think it's much more produced even now. So I think even the pyrotechnics and the lights and all of that stuff is even better now. But even then, I think, because I think that's when The Rock finally came home. I think that's the one that I showed earlier. I think that's when he says, finally, The Rock has come home. I believe that's it. because he had been gone to do some movie situation or whatever like that. But it's beside the point. It's beside the point. Is that now? Hear me. I agree. I believe it's acting. I believe it's acting. No question about it. I'm not saying that wrestling is real. All I'm saying is that the excitement, I don't think you can say that the excitement is not realistic. Hey, let me tell you right now. I think Ric Flair as an interviewee is top tier. I think all of them do well in interviews, but when it comes time to owning that ring, to get that microphone and walk around that ring and keep everybody's attention and capture the audience's attention, I don't think Ric Flair is like that. Now, he can do the woo, and I mean, it's dope and it's hilarious and all that kind of stuff like that, but it just isn't as captivating as Finally, or I think Stone Cold and The Rock are at a higher level, even with catchphrases. Their catchphrase catalog is ridiculous. It's got to be. I'm just saying. Now I got to watch this movie. Now, I will say, I don't think he's the best in some of his movies, though. I thought he was really good in most of the Fast and Furious and a couple others, but I don't think The Rock is the best actor in movies. This is my whole 2 cents. What does Megan say? Stone Cold Steve Austin. What song is stuck in that? I think you're trying to say that song is stuck in my head now. It is. Yeah, I'm thinking of it right now. I might just play. I don't want to play it because I don't want to get the copyright strike. I just thought about that. But no, I thought it was good though. And who knows? Who knows that The Rock is truly regretting his endorsement of Biden? I don't know. But I know that somebody mentioned it earlier. I don't know a person who proudly says they voted for Biden. They'll tell you that they didn't vote for Trump with a lot of big chest. I'm big chest. I didn't vote for Trump. I got you. But are you proud that you voted for Biden? That's the question. And I can't say that I know anybody that said that. I'm sure somebody's going to pop up and tell me. But I don't know anybody. Oh, no. But yeah, that's it. Everybody, if you don't mind, before you leave out today, please make sure you tip your waitress. Please make sure that you grab your coat and make sure that you stop back by on tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing the birthday live stream. We're just going to be chilling. Probably be some folk coming through, stopping by, checking out. We'll drop the link, let people come on through and holler, all that kind of good stuff like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. The Rock did play the Tooth Fairy, and that was terrible. Like I said, I don't endorse his movie choices at all. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thank you so much to the moderators. Thank you for the best live chat on the planet. I appreciate you all giving me your 2 cents. Let me know what you think. Letting me know that Trina should be able to go to the market today. I'm sure she appreciates y'all. All that kind of stuff. Tomorrow is going to be 7:00 Eastern Standard Time. And if I can find a montage that won't get copyright striked, maybe we'll come back on tonight, maybe like late, and do like a catchphrase or WWE entrance montage or something like that. That would be hilarious. I can't guarantee that, but I do appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate all of y'all for your comments. Thank you so much for the engagement, all of that kind of good stuff. Okay, I think John Cena is a better actor. I think he's a better actor. I'm just not convinced. Like I said, I'm putting it out there. If you have a good example of your favorite wrestler, I just want stage presence. So they're in the middle of the stage, owning the microphone, captivating the audience. Send me your best link. Like, okay, here's the best link of Stone Cold. Here's the best link of Roddy Piper. Here's the best link of John Cena or whomever, Booker T, whatever. Just send it. And, we'll duke it out if we have to. But I think, and I'm not saying taking anything from them, because again, I think Hogan is phenomenal. I think Roddy Piper was great. I think the Macho Man, by hands down, was a great interview. But I just think that Stone Cold and The Rock were just better. That's just my 2 cents. Not gonna fight until y'all send it to me, then we can fight. Yeah, like that. Yeah, you just like The Rock and Stone Cold. Well, thank you, Kim. What'd you say there? Yes, this is one of the better live. No. Hold on. I gotta give you a shout out. All right. No, this is not one of the better. This is the best live chat in the whole universe. I've already applied and made a petition that this live chat gets a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm sorry. This is the best live chat on the planet. Period. Thank you so much for the super chat. I love I'm glad to be a part of this chat with y'all. Look, I'm not saying that Ric Flair is not good. I'm only saying I feel like The Rock and Stone Cold were better. That's all I'm saying. But again, my email is open. I want you to send me the best example of your favorite wrestler, and then we'll just put it together. Maybe we'll make a little montage or something like that. Because WWE is, Vince McMahon is he be giving up them copyrights. So we'll figure it out. But I think it'll be fun to talk about and see what you all think. Because again, there's some great ones out there. I'm not good at speeches. Oh, well, when we get nominated when we win the Nobel Peace Prize, we'll have time to sermon files. We'll have time to make sure everybody gets their speech ready, because when this live chat receives its Nobel Peace Prize, we'll make sure that you have time to get it ready. Yeah, like Rocky Johnson is The Rock's dad. Yeah. I remember him too. So, oh my gosh, you're going to start a Nature Boy crew? Again, I think he is really good as an interview, but I think when in the early days of wrestling, when Mean Gene Okerlund would catch you and you would give I think those were great interviews, but we moved into the era of being able to hold stage presence in the middle of the ring with the microphone, and I just feel like The Rock and Stone Cold just were better at it. Not saying that the other ones were bad, but I just don't think they were as good. Watch this. If young Ric Flair, if young Macho Man, if young Ultimate Warrior were given opportunities to do what Stone Cold and The Rock did as it relates to being in the ring like that, I think we would be having a different conversation. I just don't think, and again, I think Hogan was really great. I just don't think he was better than The Rock and Stone Cold. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to come up with some way to, that's it. What we'll do is you all will send me your links, and I will put them together into a document, maybe like a community post, and then ask people to watch the links and then to vote which one is their favorite. There we go. That's how we'll do it. So if you send me your favorite wrestler doing stage presence in the ring, you know what I'm saying? So it's got to be owning the microphone, captivating the audience, and being a hype man or whatever. Then that's how we'll do it. Don't worry, Kim, don't worry about it, because I see a lot of y'all in the other chats too. And I talk trash to the other YouTubers that, yeah, you got Kim with you, but she's a member of the best live stream on the planet. So the only reason she's good on your channel is because she's a part of the best live chat on the planet. I'm just talking trash. You are perfectly fine. So, yeah, I think that would be right. But I don't believe that the Ultimate Warrior, I just didn't get, I knew this was a persona for a lot of it. Now, when he received his induction into the Wrestling Hall of Fame, a lot of people were saying, yo, this guy really was kind of turned up. However, I think his wrestling ability and his physical actions were extremely powerful. Again, like that pressing him over the head and this, that, and the other, and the shaking of the ring. That was all fantastic. All I'm saying is his microphone skills were not as good as The Rock's and Stone Cold's. That's all. The Undertaker, again, another great entertainer. Nothing wrong, taking nothing away from The Undertaker. But The Undertaker is definitely not a microphone speaking type of entertainer. He is a physical anomaly rather than just a big, tall man that likes to beat people up. So I think we would just accept that. And I'm not taking away from John Cena. I mean, you all are giving some fantastic wrestlers. And again, I just think that, and hear me, Randy Savage was fantastic interviewee. I just think his ability, his sweet spot was being interviewed. And if he was interviewed and he could play off of Mean Gene Okerlund, and he could just again, he could just captivate with that. But as it relates to him being a stage presence in the middle of the ring, in the middle of the arena, I just don't think he had that. I know. I'm starting fights. Is that Willie Doc in the building? Is that Susie in the building? Susie's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Please give Susie a shout out. There she is. Grace and peace, my sister. Grace and peace. Everybody drop a Q in the chat real quick and let Susie know we appreciate her. We shouted out all the mods earlier. We got Shar and we got Susie. We got all the great mods, but Susie wasn't here for our shout out to the mods. So if we could just drop a Q in there, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. Wait, what are you admitting, Lacey? I saw you say you're embarrassed I'm almost embarrassed to admit it now. What? What did I miss? Oh, here it is. You're huge. No, I think Stone Cold Steve Austin was a fantastic. I don't think he was actually playing a role. That's the thing. I think him and Stone Cold him and The Rock are my top two stage presence sports entertainers. No, I don't think he was actually playing a role. Just like I don't think Brock Lesnar is playing a role. I think that is who Brock Lesnar is. Goldberg, that is who he is. So there's a lot of people that I don't think they were playing roles as much as they were just able to captivate, or rather, they were able to capitalize, on who they were. That's just me. I sound like Brian Steele. Who's Brian Steele? Is Brian Steele cool? Does he have a nice beard? I need to look up Brian Steele now. Let me just do that real quick, because I don't take the road dog over here calling me Brian Steele. I don't know who Brian Steele is. Is it with a Y or an I? It's a Y. I sound like Brian Steele. Isn't Brian Steele the guy, the attorney for the YSL case? There we go. Susie getting all that love right there. There we go. Uh-oh. 4-year-old had a soccer game. I love it. Thank you, Susie. Well, we love you, Terry. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. That thing might be vintage. Lacey Ann. It might be vintage. Oh, so it is the YSL. Okay. That's what I thought his name was. There is looks like a saxophonist named Brian Steele. I think you're talking about me. I think you're talking about the YSL case. YSL guy. Yeah, I don't know how to play music. Looks like he looks pretty popular. Brian Steele, the saxophonist. I don't know about Brian Steele, the attorney. He might be in trouble. All right, what we got? Kofi Kingston. Fake. Yeah, the regional era of wrestling, I think that went wrong when they tried to make people, when I say regional, like the Jamaican thing and others, I feel like they really messed up there. But if you ever do a research and deep dive into how they come up with these characters, it is pretty interesting, though. I will say that. All right, let's see. So I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all so much for stopping by. So let's do this on tomorrow, 7 o'clock. I'll be doing my birthday live stream. Feel free to come on in, bring cake and all that kind of stuff. We'll sit around, talk, and all that kind of stuff. I'll drop the link. Y'all can come on. All I do ask is that you do have your camera on and that you at least saying happy birthday. So we'll talk about that. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all mods. Thank you so much. Live chat. Thank you very much. This has been a blast. Thank you so much for the super chats and the such like that, because y'all know what y'all were doing, helping me with the RICO Defense Fund. I appreciate that. And thank you so much, every last one of you. I'm going to end it on a regular note. Today, I am working on my closing video. So right now, we'll just keep it normal. Yeah, make sure you bring some cake tomorrow. Bring your cake. You can't send it to Whitaker Park, but you got my point. No, he wasn't really Japanese, and no, the Undertaker was not really dead. No. Everybody, I appreciate all of y'all. Thank you so much. Let's do this again real soon. And until then, everybody, grace and peace. Take care.